good. Now, how many people here would love to become better presenters, better speakers by the time we finish our session here today? Let me see you guys. Yes, anybody? Okay, awesome, awesome. And how many people here understand that communication works for those that work hard at it? Let me hear say aye.
Aye.
All right, very good. Now, I can promise you guys that you will become better presenters by the time we finish our session today if we do one thing together. So everybody go like this. If we fully engage. What's the word?
Engage.
Yeah, that's 2 words. Keeping you on your toes. Fully engage. All right, so I'm excited about what we're going to learn today, guys. Today I'm going to actually show you guys how to craft an intro to your presentation. I'm also going to give you guys a chance. We're going to call this lights, camera, action. I'm going to give you a chance to come up here, practice the intro, because practice makes what?
Perfect.
Perfect, that's right, thank you. And then also, what we're going to do afterwards is we're going to get a chance to review our practice on this big silver screen right here. So everybody say one time, feedback is the breakfast of champions.
Feedback is the breakfast of champions.
The reason is, you'd be surprised how quickly 2 hours passes when you give people an opportunity to come up, to practice, to watch their video. I mean, 2 hours goes by really, really quick. So this is not your traditional seminar. I'm dressed like this for a reason because I really want to connect with you guys. And you know, even though I'm a full-time speaker and all that stuff, I don't want it to be in any kind of boundary. So this is how I normally dress on Saturday morning. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to roll out of bed, come out to class, and have fun with my team. Is that cool? Good or good? Yeah?
Good.
One supporter in the back. Love that. All right, so first of all, I want to congratulate you guys for being here. You know, there's a saying and it goes something like this. It says that 85% of success is just one thing. It's just, what do you guys think it is?
Doing.
Just doing, yes.
Effort.
Effort, yes.
Networking.
Maybe. So 85% of success is just showing up, okay? So I want you guys to do me a big favor. I want you to reach out with both hands. Go ahead and do that now. Reach out with both hands. Turn to your neighbor, give him a pat on the back and say, congratulations for being here today. Yes, yes. Right? So thank God it actually did work. Big time, actually. My whole business changed after that. A lot of people in Atlanta started calling me the public speaking doctor. Nowadays, I got people from IBM, from Georgia Tech, from all kinds of companies that I'm working with. And I'm not saying this to brag, guys, but what I do want to kind of paint a picture for you is that, you know, you're listening to someone that is really out there doing it. There's nothing in theory. I don't have a 9 to 5 and then this thing that I do on Saturdays. Because I know some speakers that do that. That's not me. I'm literally a full-time speaker, full-time trainer, full-time coach, and also successful at it. So just want to kind of earn your trust a little bit here. So let me say, Arielle, that's great for you. You know, I'm happy you made it. Genuinely, I'm happy. But what does that do for me? You know, that doesn't mean nothing for me. I want to get the value out of this event. So my obsession, here's where it gets good for you, right? It's about to get really good for you. My obsession is to make you better than me. There's a couple things that I want to show you guys today, and we're not going to get too deep into the weeds because, again, we want to have the practice time to really implement a lot of the stuff that, you know, we're going to talk about. But the first thing I do want to show you is how to craft the intro of your talk for a seminar or for a webinar. So raise your hand if you would love to learn that right now. Okay, very good. So I want you to go ahead and take out a piece of paper if you have one. Very good. Very good, very good. And here's what we're going to do. The first thing, we're going to create a mind map for this intro. A mind map, okay? Now, there's 3 T's to creating an effective presentation. How many are there?
3.
3 T's, right? The first one is the title. The second one is the T-bar. And the third T is putting it all
Together.
One more time, putting it all
Together.
Very good. We got an advanced group here. I'm actually worried about you guys. You guys are going to come up here, and again, my obsession is to make you better than me. Some of you guys are up for the challenge this morning. Arielle, I'm going to blow you out the water here in a second. That's what I like. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. The first thing that we want to do is we want to create a title for our seminar or our webinar. Okay? I'm going to give you some clues. From problem to solution. Because I'm Atlanta Public Speaking, from stage fright to spotlight. From rags to... I can't hear you. Yeah. Everybody say, show me the money. Right?
Show me the money.
Yes, yes, yes. It's important to get good as a public speaker, but it's also important to love your job. And some of you guys would love to do, just this little thing, what I'm doing here. Again, we're doing pretty good with it. And it's not just what you're seeing. Again, there's a lot of automated webinars involved in this. But, okay, so I think you get the idea. From problem to solution. So go ahead and write down the name of your seminar or your webinar using this formula. If I worked with the organization coach, yes, she's a full-time organization coach. You never thought somebody would pay someone full-time money just to organize their corporate offices. Well, that's a true story. And her thing was from chaos to clarity. Okay, write it down. Don't think about it twice. We're going to move on to the second little clue or method for creating a title. Some of you guys don't like that first one. I'm going to give you another one. I always like to give people options and then let them choose. The second one is how to ... value that you provide. Fill it in. So how to ... For me, it would be monetize your speaking. How to monetize your speaking. That's a great title for me. For you, it would be how to, own a debt-free home in the next 12 months if you're in the real estate market. So think about how to ... value proposition. Okay, the third one I'm going to give you, and this is the final one on the first T, is mystique. What's it called?
Mystique.
Mystique, right? So put a little mystery in your title of your webinar or your seminar. What do I mean? My 5-step system to packaging your passion in the next 90 days. My 3-step formula for getting a 6-pack in the next 4 months, if you're like a personal fitness trainer. Right? My 7-step process in this business, we love numbers like 3-step, 5-step, 7-step. Now, let's see who remembers what are the 3 T's of creating an effective webinar or an effective seminar. The 3 T's, the first one is the title, the second one is the T-bar, and the third one is putting it all together. Very good. Turn to your neighbor, give him a high five, say, I'm still in this thing.
I'm still in this thing.
That's right. We're in the 3rd round right now. We're still in it. In fact, we're winning. So right now what we want to do is we're in the T-bar, which is the second T, and I want you to go ahead and flip your paper over, and I want you to draw a giant T-bar across the page. Okay? Go ahead and just draw it out. On the left side, I want you to write tables equals points. On the right side, I want you to write legs equals evidence. Go ahead and do that now. I will help you if you need it. By all means, I invited you to ask questions as we're going along. It's very much like a Starbucks environment, so if you do have questions, by all means, go ahead and ask. But go ahead and just follow what you're seeing on the board. So far, it seems pretty easy. Tables equals points, legs equals evidence. Just kind of do a little T-bar just like that. If you have questions, I'm here to help. Now, here's what we're going to do. On the left side right here, the tables equals points, what we're going to do is we're going to brainstorm all the potential points that we could include in this seminar or webinar. Potential points, nucleus, main idea points, right? So for example, if I'm going to do a talk called How to Monetize Your Speaking, Then I may do something like why public speaking is important to you. Why is this the #1 skill you should learn? I may say how to create content without using a script, right? I may say how to deliver like a pro. I may say how to make an offer from a stage without being pushy, without being salesy, right? Am I losing anybody this morning? No. Okay, you guys are still with me. We're brainstorming potential points that we could make in our presentation. We may not use any of those, but we're just brainstorming right now. So what we want to do, we're going to go pretty fast here this morning. Trust your first instinct, not your second instinct. So we're going to go pretty fast. What I want you to do is I want you to brainstorm, and then I want you to circle the top 3 that you're going to use. The power of 3. Circle the top 3. So go ahead and your pens should be lightning right now. Racing across your paper. What are the points I could make? I know my title. I could talk about this. I could do. Okay, so let me give you some ideas. The why. Why? You have a why too. I have a why. Why public speaking? If you're an internet marketer, why social media marketing or whatever it may be. You may say the pros and cons. Here are all the benefits you'll get by implementing our solutions. Here's the consequences of maybe trying to do it on your own. Pros and cons. The common myths. Well, here's what public speaking training is not at Atlanta Public Speaking, so the myths. So you can use that, you can borrow. Again, you may not use those, but just brainstorm right now. How? I know everybody here has how-to tips, how-to steps, stuff that only you know, that you got that knowledge from industry, a knowledge of just getting deep into your topic and being a practitioner of what you do. That's how you got that knowledge. And put your hand on your heart, say, I promise to become a level 10 speaker.
To become a level 10 speaker.
There you go. Because I'll tell you guys, there's no better feeling than being able to speak from the heart, except maybe skydiving or singing. I can't teach you guys that, but it's a pretty exhilarating rush when you're up here and you're really connecting with the audience. If you're just giving a boring presentation, that doesn't feel too good. But when you're connecting with the audience, that is a good feeling. So who is really, really serious about becoming a level 10 speaker in the next 3 to 4 months? Anybody? That's, okay, cool. I'm glad that you got ignited and you have a passion for it. Of course, we're going to talk a little more about how to do that effortlessly. Okay, we circled the 1, 2, 3. Here's the things I'm going to talk about. First, I'm going to cover this. Then I'm going to cover that. Then, finally, we're going to finish up with this. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to write down all the potential legs that support the tables. These are the examples, the analogies, the stories, the case studies, the quotes, the visuals, the different things that you could use to support these main tables, right? Imagine the table has 4 legs. Well, that's what we call them, legs. Legs equals evidence. All the pieces of evidence are right there on the board. Expert opinion. Warren Buffett said, that's an expert opinion, right? Analogy. Imagine that it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Bam, you go into an analogy. It's kind of like, that's another, kind of like bridge. That's a way to segue into an analogy. You give a very difficult topic that's complex, and then you say, it's kind of like, imagine, turning off these lights. Or you go into some kind of analogy. You'll see a personal story there, a personal story. There I was, it was 2009. I found myself at a crossroads in my career. That's a personal story. You'll see observational story. Something that didn't happen to you, you observed, right? Last night I was watching Anderson Cooper, and he had a very interesting guest on the show, and they were talking about something that you saw on TV, in a book, right? Observational story. So far, is everybody with me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go ahead and move right along here. We're in the final T, which is, everybody say it, putting it all
together.
All right, very good. Putting it all together. So here we go. What we're going to do, guys, is you don't have to copy all of this because we're just going to focus on the intro today, but we're going to create a visual mind map, and this is the secret right here. Honestly, guys, I don't need this PowerPoint. I'm doing this more for you. This I'm able to actually have a blueprint in my mind Because the way your mind works is that it has visual association to things. Think about it. When you came here today, Google Maps showed you a blue picture of I-85 North. It didn't say 85 North, N-O-R-T-H. But yet, that's what they teach you at the collegiate level. They teach you create an outline and put a Roman numeral 1, and then little thesis statements. And then underneath that, put an ABC, and they language you to death. And it's no wonder that almost all of my clients have taken some kind of public speaking class in college, yet they still don't consider themselves a level 10 speaker. So clearly there's a gap. What they're teaching in college is clearly not working quite as good as supposed to. Raise your hand if you've taken a public speaking class in college before. Okay? So there's proof right there. So, okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to start off with this little visual mind map. And don't worry about all the other stuff that you see here. I'm going to keep it very, very simple. So just follow along. This is the part you really want to get very close to the board and see what I'm doing here. Because first thing I'm doing is I'm drawing a circle. And this is my opening circle. And all I'm doing is I'm taking one of these legs from right over here. There's a bunch of legs here. I'm dragging it and I'm dropping it right here, plugging it and playing it right there, and I'm using one word like Google Maps, picture, right? I'm using one word to identify my opener because our brains don't need a lot of words to remember. They just need pictures, right? So I decided to start with a series of questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and put question marks right here as my opening leg, my opening leg that I'm going to start my webinar or seminar. Okay, and feel free to ask questions if you get a little confused here. Okay, after that, I want you to go ahead and draw a little bubble just like this. And then in this bubble, I actually want you to fill in the word preview. That's not going to change. We don't need to customize that. That's always going to be preview. Just go ahead and draw it out. Just stay with me step by step. Again, stop me from going too fast. I don't want to lose anybody because we're about to come up here. And I don't want you to say, well, you didn't do a good job of teaching us. You know, because I'm going to take you baby steps all the way to crafting our intro. So far, everybody with me, team?
Yes.
All right, say go us.
Go us.
I love it, right. Is it okay if we have fun on the job, guys?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. There's no wrong with that, right? So what we're going to do after we do the preview, I want you to go ahead and just draw. Don't worry about these other supporting legs, supporting the table, but I want you to draw, I want you to draw one circle. Then there's a T, it stands for table. You may remember it way back over here. Look, you circled 3 tables. Here's where it gets interesting. You got to come up with one word to identify every single one of them. So table, put one word over there. So if I'm going to teach about content, how to create content without using any kind of notes, that's going to be my first word, my first table. Then the next one is I'm going to teach you how to find the traffic in your city interested in your topic, your products or services. I'm just going to put traffic right there. Right? I see some people having fun on the job, which I'm all about, you know, so that's good. And then let's say I teach you guys how to actually make an offer from the stage without being salesy or pushy. Then the final T for table, I would put the word offer there. Okay, am I losing anybody? So far so good, right? And then, so that's the preview. The preview is nothing more but the menu. Just at a glance, here's the 3 things we're going to talk about. And then we move over to the background. We move over to the background. So it's like soccer. I'm from Romania. We love to play soccer. So the preview passes into the background. Cross-court pass or basketball, whatever analogy you want to make. Okay, the background. But before we do that, would it be okay if I just tell you guys a little bit about myself? You want to connect with the audience. Now, there's 2 things you want to put into the background. Number 1 is challenges. So put a C right over there to remind you. C. And then the other C stands for credibility. Okay? What are the 2 C's that should go under the background? Say it one more time so we can hear you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everything is energy. Everything is what?
Energy.
Very good, very good. So, challenges. Now let me give you guys an example of how I may do some of this stuff. Would you guys like to see just a short little example of an intro? It's gonna take about 30 seconds.
Yes.
We do need examples to really root it. Okay, so here's how I'm gonna do this. So let's just say it's a series of questions, and here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come up, and let's say I do this at a conference, because I speak at conferences, sometimes, 300-400 people. It's really, really fun. Sometimes I do small group workshops like this, so I can give you guys the practice time, and then sometimes I'm doing corporate training for different, organizations. So let's just say I'm at a conference, and I'm about to start my seminar, or I'm about to start doing my webinar, right? I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna say, so how many people here would love to become better presenters by the time we finish our session here today? Let me see you guys. Very good. And how many people here understand that communication works for those that work hard at it? Let me hear you say aye.
Aye.
Very good, very good. Now, I can promise you guys that you will become better presenters by the time we finish our session here today if we do one thing together, if we fully engage. What's the word?
Engage.
Very good, very good. Now, I'm excited about what we're going to learn today. Today, we're going to find out how to actually create content for a talk without using any kind of notes. So everybody tear away the notes, make paper planes out of them, and toss them across the room. You don't need any notes anymore, index cards. You don't need any of that stuff. Today, I'm also going to show you guys how to deliver like a pro. Like a what?
Pro.
Very good. And then I'm also going to show you guys how to actually, create an offer from the stage without being salesy or pushy, right? I just did my preview right there. But before we do that, I'm passing it to the background right now. Here comes my CC. But before we do that, would it be okay if I just tell you guys a little bit about myself so you can get a better understanding of, hey, why should you listen to me in the first place? Would that be okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So this is when you tell them your name. So my name is Arielle Ginga. I'm the founder of Atlanta Public Speaking. I started this organization, back in 2011. Now it wasn't always, roses and butterflies. It was a very, very hard struggle. For 12 months, I didn't make any kind of income at all. And if I was to even go back further, right, I gotta tell you guys, I come from a communist country, so I'm kind of like making a super shortcut right now. Obviously, I'm making it like nuggeting the whole thing in. And then I move over to the credibility. Now today we've had the good fortune of coaching professionals from IBM, from Georgia Tech, from AJC, from CDC, from whatever, right? And then you talk about credibility, right? CC, right? Here's the thing. Now some of you guys may say, well, Arielle, I haven't coached anybody from IBM, from Georgia Tech, or AJC. How do I give the credibility if I'm just starting out? Don't worry about it. You got to start somewhere, right? So here's how you do it. I've went to countless seminars on this topic. I've consulted many professionals on this topic because there's a good chance if you're in this room here today, you probably are the person that gives advice. Maybe you're not charging for it. You don't know how to package your passion yet, but you're probably consulting already. You may say things like, I've read dozens of books on this topic. I went to countless hours of seminars. That's credibility. And then think about also your career, your job career. Think about your Facebook timeline. In 2008, I was here. In 2018, I'm here. What did you do in the last 10 years? There's a lot of credibility in there. Awards, certificates, promotions, job titles, all of that falls into credibility. Are you guys with me so far?
Yes.
Okay, very good, very good. So what we're going to do now is we are actually going to go ahead and move into the interactive portion. I think you guys have heard enough, and now you're dying to come up here and actually try out some of this stuff.
Everybody, I'm Adriene Wells Lucas, and thanks so much for coming out. We're going to talk about real estate today, and I know that's a topic that most of us are probably going to be familiar with. Now, how many of actually own property, has owned property, or thinking about buying property right now? Oh, I knew it. I knew I could peg this audience before I walked through the door. The next thing is that how many of us have actually gone through a real estate closing, worked with a realtor, had to go to a title company, all of those things, right? Now, let's get down to the down payment. how many of us had to think about, this is 10% down, 20% down, for the first time buyers, of course, they probably got lucky with just 3% down. But how many of us had to experience that at our closing? Yeah, so that was a lot, probably like out of your savings. Now, it took a lot for you to get that money saved up, whether you worked toward it, right? Whether you inherited, whether your parents gave you a gift, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now, how many of us would like to know how to not only spend the money, but continue to make money on a consistent basis through real estate? I knew it. Who doesn't want to make money on a consistent basis, right? Okay, how many of us get paid at least once a month? What about twice a month? That's like every 2 weeks. Okay, who's lucky to get paid literally every week from their job or whatever they're doing? Okay, now we're narrowing it down. How many of us see revenue coming in more than once a week? Knew it. You see how the numbers get, the numbers start to decrease. Most of us get paid once, twice a month. Some of us get paid once a week. We're lucky. Some of us get paid more than once a week, and who wouldn't want to join that guy over there? So whatever he's doing, we probably want to learn about that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay. One of the things that I want to talk to you about today is Airbnb, and it is consistent cash flow. And who doesn't want consistent cash flow? All right? We talked about you getting paid every 2 weeks, you're getting paid every 2 weeks. You've had to take some of that money that you've earned and take it and pay for a down payment for a closing, right? Now that once you gave it away, you gave it away. So you had to continue to work to build more money, build more savings. Is that right? Mm-hmm. All right. So one of the things is that, has anyone stayed in the Airbnb?
Yes.
How was your experience?
That's okay.
Okay. How was your experience? Have you ever stayed in one?
It was great.
It was great. That's what we want to hear.
Mine was better than I expected, honestly.
Awesome. That's amazing. So wouldn't you like someone to say that about you? Oh, I work with this person. She was great. The experience was better than what I expected. That's what the Airbnb concept is about. It is about giving you an experience, a guest an experience that's just mind-blowing. I don't know anybody who would say no to that. Especially when that gives you more leisure time for your family, more time to go to Japan. I just heard somebody in the audience, and I was ear hustling a little bit, where he said that, hey, I'm going to Japan and I'm getting a one-way ticket. How many of us would like to be in a suitcase with him and go right there with him, right? I know I would. It would be amazing. So with Airbnb, what it does is that it allows you to take a room in your house, maybe in your lower level in the basement, or maybe, an apartment that you were thinking about moving out. Maybe you're getting married now, or your condo that you're getting married now and you're moving into a house, and lease it out to guests. Host them. Give them the great experience that we talked about. And in turn, for fair market pricing, obviously it's going to be furnished, and it's going to have all of the Keurigs and the nice sheets and the nice comforters and things like that. For that, you will be getting paid for. Today, we're going to talk about, again, those 5 steps. Now that I've got your interest, now that I've piqued your curiosity, now that I know some of us would like to get paid more than twice a month, more than once a month, and we'd like to be at that Whole Foods in the grocery line seeing on our phone how much money we've made just in the 40 minutes that it might even take us to drive. Action!
Good morning. How are you guys all?
Good.
Great,
Okay,
great.
my name is Ashwani Kumar, and I moved from Toronto, Canada to Georgia. And when I tell everybody, the first question, what made you move from Toronto to Georgia? I said, well, it's a good weather here. I don't have to shovel snow. Okay? So I moved here, bought a little gas station in a small town called Tubbleton. I don't know whether you guys know about it or not. It's a bit south of Columbus or Manchester, going towards Macon. So long story short, fast forward 5-6 years, I had 3 gas stations, and I jumped into a Piggly Wiggly grocery store. And here comes a biggest recession of the century. Lost every bit of it. Whatever I had earned in the last 20 years was gone. Poof. And I didn't want to do bankruptcy. End up doing chapter 13, where I made a little payments step by step. Came out of that, in 2015, and then moved to Douglasville. Bought another gas station here, slowly brought me up. But then again, my mind was telling me, this is not me. Why did I go to college all that years and I'm just gonna be behind this little counter from day in, day out, 7 days a week, put my 3 children, beautiful children, handsome boy, through college, and saw them just sleeping. When I left in the morning, they were sleeping, and when I went back home, they were sleeping because I put 14 to 16 hours a day. So I said, let me think what other thing I can do which is better. I can spend whatever time left with me, like God knows, but maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Let me spend that traveling the world, teaching people, and maybe a lot of people are suffering the same way. We are living in the best country in the world, but still everybody is struggling, paycheck to paycheck, in debt. So I happened to talk to somebody, and they showed me a business.
Yes, you did. We're all here like a business family, like I said. So imagine that the stage is a triangle, right? On the front line of this triangle, you have 3 lily pads, right? Imagine. Now from this lily pad, I can actually pivot and talk to 300 people, right? I can also walk and talk. I freeze right here, address everyone, talk to 300 people from this place. But then also, don't forget about this side of the room, you know, if it's a bigger audience. So walk and talk, and don't stay more in the center, but use all angles of the stage triangle. Now, second tip, and we got 15 of these. I'm only going to share about 2 or 3 right now. Second tip is called the voice triangle, okay? There's 3 voices to speak in. There's the high voice, the medium voice, and the low voice, right? When you're doing a seminar, you want to kind of modulate that vocal variety in the voice triangle. The voice of, like the preacher voice, the team leader, that's the high voice, you know. Today I'm going to inspire you. I'm going to show you some concepts. It's going to blow your mind. That's going to be your high voice, right? But then also, you know, you're going to tone it down to the medium, more conversational, more, you know, more instructional. But then have you ever noticed how maybe someone burned you? And you're like, man, we've been best friends since 13. How could you do this to me? What happens to your voice? It goes down, right? So you want to talk in the voice triangle. You want to move in the stage triangle. Make good sense?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to be giving these tips along the way.
Hello everyone, my name's Greg Patterson, and I travel around the country and I do training, I do webinars, I do online training. Now the area I do this training in is quite unique. It's safety training. And everyone says we don't care so much about safety until we're not safe, correct?
Right.
But I can tell you, I've visited hundreds of places, and I can tell you 5 or 6 myths about safety. So as I go through today, I know you have to be here because this is a requirement from regulatory agencies. But I want this to be fun, okay? So the first thing I want to do is say, okay, we're here to increase production through safety. Now everyone tells me, you can't increase production and apply more safety and structure. Now Donald Trump would tell you it's impossible to do, but I can tell you that's incorrect because I see it every day. There's a company that has 170,000 employees called Turner Construction, the largest construction company in the world. They've not had one death on any facility or site in over 3 years. No company's done that in the construction industry. They apply what's called lean safety. One of the first secrets of safety is lean safety. I can train you and teach you to do that, but we're in this course today to meet the regulatory requirements, and that's an add-on. So if you want me to come back, I will certainly come back and train you in that area. I do training in safety, environmental, EPA, OSHA, and I do DOT training. Not only that, I do online, I do webinars. Okay? The webinars are easier for me to do in the sense that I get to stay home like Arielle. I don't have to get on a plane. But here's the problem, folks. Webinars are tougher to do because you can't engage the attendees nearly as well.
Right.
And here's the other thing. I train hundreds of people in Puerto Rico right now that work for FEMA, and they all speak Spanish. I don't speak a word of Spanish. So what I've done is I have adapted, and I've got an interpreter. So because FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers, that FEMA follows their safety requirements, I have to do it in English first, and then I have someone that's Spanish that speaks and applies that. So the second secret to safety is this. Everyone has to be fully responsible for their safety, for themselves and others. And every company has to operate and develop a near-miss program. Well, why near-miss? Well, here's the reason. If you have an accident, that's kind of a unique outlier, right? But for every accident you have, there's 27 near misses. So if you want to learn best practices, how to reduce accidents, are you going to look at that one accident that is one-off that's an outlier, or are you going to look at 27 potential accidents? It's a no-brainer. Now here's the problem, folks. I've given you 2 of the secrets. You got to bring me back, and I'll give you the other 3. Thank you very much.
Awesome. You guys are owning the spotlight, which I like. I'm always going to give a couple tips, right? Because we want to go from good to better to what? Best, right? So a couple tips would be, now we're going to talk about CP. This stands for California Pizza. No, it stands for crowd participation, right? So we're going to talk about crowd participation and how to create a two-way dialogue with the audience, right? So again, my 2 speakers so far this morning, great job. I'm just going to give you guys a couple little nuances. Everybody go like this. Say small hinges, swing big doors.
Swing big doors.
All right, so let's talk about CP, crowd participation. The first one is, everybody go like this. Say, questions hook the mind. Questions hook the mind. Constantly ask questions of the audience. So I'm originally from Romania. Anybody here from Romania? Right? Constantly ask questions. How many guys follow? Everybody with me? We're all on the same page, right? So you're constantly asking what? Questions, right? That's one way to create that two-way dialogue. Another way, everybody go like this. Say, fill in the blank, right? Start a sentence and don't finish it. Shut up, let the audience finish it for you. Example, 85% of success is just one thing. It's just showing up. Thank you, right? I start a sentence and then I let someone finish it. And it doesn't matter what the answer is. They're like, yeah, that's good. And then you kind of fill in your own answer, right? So far, are you guys with me?
Yes.
All right, cool. So we talked about that. Also, get the audience to move in their chair. Get them to what?
Move in their chair.
How do you do that? Everybody, put your hand on your heart. Say, I promise to create a movement.
To create a movement.
Right? What did you do? You put your hand on your heart. You moved, right? You physically moved. Turn to your neighbor. Give him a high five. Say, you're in the right room this morning.
Oh.
No, I'm showing you how to get them to move. Did you guys move?
Yeah.
You moved, right? You moved in your chair, right? You could get them to do a stand up for a declaration. You know, you could give me 3 claps if that makes sense. You know, whatever it is, but just get them to what? Move. And that was an example of what? Fill in the blank. All right, I think you guys are with me. Very good. All right, so who would like to be our next participant? This could be your big moment right here this morning. What I'm about to show you guys next is the kinds of audience that we have on our list. You just never know. But I'll tell you guys, I got a lot of high profile people on my list, and you never know who's gonna watch this video. So this could be your moment. Who else wants to give this a try? Come up here, just practice your intro, just like we did so far. There's nothing to it. If that's you, just, okay, we got.
Okay, so let me introduce myself. My name is Tanisha Von D, and I like to go by Siobhan, which is my middle name. I am actually from Columbus, Ohio. Technically, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I transitioned from Pennsylvania to Columbus, Ohio for work. My background is strongly in healthcare. And then I just happened to have an opportunity to come down here briefly, just for this weekend, to be quite honest with you, to sing, okay? Someone had requested for me to come down and participate in one of their events that took place on yesterday. And
The pebble in your shoe
let me
is telling you stage triangle.
Stage triangle, okay. So in any case,
Good.
So I came down here, and in preparation of coming down, I knew I had Saturday kind of open and free. So I kind of looked up what was going on down here in Atlanta, and happened to come across this wonderful seminar. So here I am today. But I'm going to share a little bit about why I'm kind of like the reason why I'm here as far as singing and all that good stuff. I currently have an organization that's called Helping Voices, and how it started was I went to Australia in 2008 or 8, and I had the opportunity to, it was like a missions type of thing, and I had the opportunity to learn more about human trafficking and sexual abuse and those, crazy things. That's really, really unfortunate for those individuals that experience those types of events. And I also, right before that time, I had the experience of being a part of an organization called AMTC, which is acting, model, and talent for Christ. And so they wanted me to go down to Florida and do some events and things of that nature, kind of sing and do things like that. But I really felt one day when I was walking my four-legged son, Tico, that I wasn't supposed to go in that direction. Instead of going into that direction, I felt like I was supposed to take the skills, the talents that God has provided to me, which I believe, and marry that up with my own experience of being violated, and then also learning more about this human trafficking that's taken place over in Australia. But believe it or not, it's not only taking place here, over there in Australia and different places outside of this country, but it's actually taking place a lot in here in this country here. And in Columbus, Ohio, it's huge too. Very huge. And people don't even realize it. So I started doing more and more singing, being asked to do different events and things of that nature. And so, my background is in healthcare. So what I've done is I started this organization that provides music to other organizations to help raise awareness, funds, and also wellness training for the individuals as well as the special events that we go to sing and create this awareness. And so it's just now kind of starting to really kind of take off and move forward.
Yeah, so, people ask me sometimes, what do I do if I keep saying or ahs? Mm-hmm. What rhymes with ahs? Pause, right? Just freeze, be quiet, right? If you have a thought and you're like, okay, it's racing and then I forget what I'm gonna say, I draw a blank, just be quiet. Because the audience looks at that as like a very, dramatic pause. You're just like, oh my God, I'm having a brain, collapse here, right? So that's one way to slow down. Another way to slow down is to punch your words. Punch your words, right? So, I could talk about, this is the way that I'm going to teach you how to punch your words. I'm going to tell you, you got to punch them. Or I could say, this is the way that I'm going to teach you how to punch your words. So there's an emphasis, right, on words. And you're slowing down the pace, right, and the rate at which you speak. And we just call that punch your words. So you're not just kind of like, going right over. So there's a whole bunch of techniques, guys, and inside our
Hi, I'm Adrienne Wells Lucas. I'm the president of the Wells Luxury Group, and I joined Atlanta Public Speaking. I found it on a meetup, and I can tell whoever is watching this, it is absolutely amazing. And personally, what it has done for me is continue to help build my confidence. Really focus on your own personal objective. Arielle does that, and he helps you bring out the best in you. I will tell you that he just recently helped me with a project that I'm working on, a speaking engagement, and we worked on it on a Saturday. I made it live on a Sunday, and I sold out on Tuesday, and just 2 days. He's just amazing. I love it. And if you're looking to build your confidence, if you're looking to learn a lot more than just speaking, but some marketing tools, how to focus on your delivery, this is the class for you.
The most invaluable thing was actually jumping in and trying to get myself a little bit uncomfortable, and learning to watch my confidence grow by doing that, and on top of that, stacking different skills. And Arielle has definitely helped me do that and achieve that. I've only been to 5 classes, and I can say it's definitely made an improvement in my presentation and also my conversational skills. So come on down and stack your skills up.